Hi everyone, and welcome to our daily show, The Big Story, where we discuss the hottest topics of the day right here in the heart of the newsroom. My name is Alyssa Wu, and I'm coming to you live from the Straits Times. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube right now, and if you're watching us on YouTube, do subscribe and click that bell button to be notified whenever we go live. I'll be joined very shortly by my newsroom colleagues, where we'll discuss the topics that got you talking today. Now, in Singapore, 1 in 3 deaths is caused by heart disease or stroke, and the chances of more Singaporeans developing such diseases will increase as the population ages. Hence, the focus on preventive action rather than care. I have here with me ST correspondent Joyce Teo to talk about this. Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
Right. So, what comes under preventive action?
So, preventive action, that's about people today, they are living longer. So, it's about getting people to adopt healthy habits so that they can remain healthy and independent for as long as possible. So that will it will help reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease. And if symptoms appear, it's about helping people to manage them before a major event happens.
So where is the future of healthcare then, if we are going to focus on preventive measures?
So the doctors are saying, like this Dr. Michael Lim, he's the medical director of Singapore Heart, Stroke and Cancer Centre. He sees a future where the focus is on helping people to prevent such diseases and on helping them to manage it rather than only treating them when they become very ill.
Yeah, I understand. So what is the success rate of preventing heart disease or stroke just by living a healthy lifestyle?
Most of it can be prevented. So that's what the doctors are saying. Actually, more than 90% can be prevented.
That's quite a lot. So,
Yeah.
but there are certain things that we can't change, right?
Yes.
For example, like our age
Yes,
and
your
there's
gender
more, right?
and your race. Yeah, but there are a lot of factors that you can manage. So there are a few. Okay, so the main things would be healthy habits like smoking, eating healthily, exercise, maintaining your weight. Those will help you actually control your blood cholesterol levels, your blood pressure levels, and diabetes. Yeah, those are key risk factors for heart disease and stroke actually.
I understand. So prevention health is not a new concept, and we've had doctors advising patients and the general public to live healthier lifestyles for the longest time. But why have so few people adopted this?
I think healthy choices are hard to make, and sometimes not very obvious. And if you look at the key factors like smoking, right, it's addictive. And once you pick it up, it's really hard to quit. So I think in the first place, don't even pick it up. And then as Prof. Tan Hui Chim, right, he's the director of the National University Heart Centre of Singapore. So he was telling me that people don't realize that their condition is chronic. I mean, you tell them that, yes, but you give them preventive medication, and then once they realize that, say their blood pressure, the level is okay, they stop taking the medication. So there are some misconceptions there as well. And then some people think that if you take certain drugs over the long term, they will be sick from it. They will develop side effects. But Prof. Tan was saying that if you don't get the side effects at the acute stage, right, it's unlikely that you will get them later on.
So do you think doctors play an important part in getting their patients to understand how the disease will affect them?
Yes, you have to know how it works. And then the doctors are saying, so to know how it works, how it affects you, and they have to also empower the patients to do things by themselves. So for instance, Dr. Lim was telling me that when people have diabetes, right, it's easy to tell them, okay, don't eat this, don't eat that, and avoid doing this, right? I mean, in real life, it's really very hard. But if you can actually see the effect of certain foods on your body, you would actually make the effort to avoid them. So he's saying that if you have diabetes, you monitor it. So maybe take 2 months to create a food list, look at the things that you really like to eat, maybe go to the restaurant, try them out, and then monitor it and see how it affects your blood sugar levels. So if it really affects it a lot, then obviously you will know you shouldn't eat it too much. Yeah.
So earlier we just said that, to live a very general healthy lifestyle. Do you have any specific advice on what the individual can do to decrease their risk of heart disease or stroke?
The tips, okay, so I was saying earlier, smoking is a key risk factor. So it's really important, like the doctor said, to quit smoking. It just causes a lot of diseases.
And another one is we should get our cholesterol and diabetes levels sugar levels checked regularly, right?
Yes, because these are the three, you should manage your three health conditions. Those are treatable risk factors, right? You can manage them. That's diabetes, hypertension, and your cholesterol levels. And actually, by living a healthy lifestyle, right, you can prevent this. So the key thing would be, you know, it's back to the boring advice, but it works. Like quit smoking, eat healthily, exercise, maintain your weight, and you know, like eating healthily, we're talking about eating less saturated and trans fat, and then eating less processed meat, less red meat, less sugary foods and too salty foods, and then of course eat more vegetables and whole grains. You know.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Joyce, for coming on the show to tell us more about this. Now on to our next segment. Gone are the days where hospital food means tasteless meals. Now, some hospitals have a menu that could rival even some restaurants. Imagine having lobster, slow-cooked Black Angus beef, and even lamb shank biryani. To discuss this trend of tantalizing hospital fare, I have here with me ST Food online editor Heidi. Hi Heidi.
Hi, hello.
Right, so first things first, where can I find all these dishes? Which hospital?
Yeah, all of the hospitals, or at least like quite a number of them, they have pretty, like surprisingly good food. For the Black Angus beef, you can get it at Glen Eagles and hospitals under the Parkway Pantai group. But Tan Tock Seng Hospital serves up quite a mean Hainanese poached chicken rice, and they use mixed brown rice. And I had one of the quite a memorable and very comforting, very tasty century egg and pork porridge at National University Hospital. I was really surprised because they used lower amount of salt and all that, but it still turned out pretty tasty.
Just to make things clear, you have to be a patient to try this food at the hospital, but Heidi tried this because she was reviewing the food.
Yes,
for
not because I was ill. Yes,
not because
I'm in the pink of health. Yeah.
Okay. Now, hospital food has a rather bad image for many people for many years, right? Just having bland food. So why are the hospitals making a change now?
I don't think it's so much a change now, but I think there has been constant, it's been evolving. And I don't think it's so much of a bad image, but rather it's the stereotype that people have. I mean, it's the same that if you are sick at home, you expect to eat bland food, but it doesn't have to be that way. There are different ways of going around it, and I think that's where the skill of the chefs really comes through. But it's not just that. In hospitals, the dietitians and the chefs have to work very closely together to develop recipes and to choose and select ingredients and even right down to the cooking method that is appropriate for the patients. And actually there are two, it's not correct to think that all hospital food is bland and boring, because you have patients who are on regular diets and then patients on therapeutic diets. But overall there is a move towards making whichever kind of diets they're having, whatever limitations that the hospital has to work with, they are making a lot of effort to make the food look more appealing, be it aesthetics, presentation, even the selection of crockery, and also how to make the food tastier, because you're dealing with people who do not have an appetite and who may not even have an easy time eating or swallowing their food.
So very quickly, earlier you mentioned there are two different categories of diets. One is regular, one is therapeutic. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, so for people on regular diets, for instance, if there's really nothing much wrong with you except like maybe you had a bad fall, you broke your leg, or you're dealing with a fracture. So for that, you're on a regular diet. You don't have any dietary restrictions. If you're on a therapeutic diet, for instance, maybe you're elderly, you have certain medical conditions, you can't eat certain kinds of food, or you're a diabetic, or you have kidney problems, or if you have heart disease, I don't think they will be giving you a steak very, anytime soon, or lobster, or things that's, that you shouldn't be eating. But even for these really luxurious and rich sounding foods, actually what the hospitals do is that all these are approved by dietitians, and they use cooking methods that are not the same as what you would get, say, in a restaurant. So for example, wok fried lobster, outside maybe they'll deep fry the lobster, but in the hospital they're not going to do that. They steam the lobster, and then they just give it a quick braise or stir fry in the gravy, so that the method is healthier, and you don't use so much oil, you don't use so much salt. Yeah, so you can expect the taste to be a bit lower as opposed to if you're eating outside. And also you're not eating like lobster every day. I think the point of making the food more appealing, it's also because it's part of the patient's recovery process. And they want to make the patients feel happier, because if you're happier, then you're motivated to recover. You know, there is psychologically, there is a boost for the patient. And it's something to look forward to. Yeah, I mean, imagine it's so depressing, you know, you're in hospital, you're not feeling good, you're worried, you're anxious, and then, you know, you have this menu to brighten up your day. I think it does play an important part, yeah.
And I think at one point, everyone has experienced being hangry.
Yes, yeah.
Right, so where are these chefs from?
A lot of them are from hotels, or they have restaurant background, and I think it is also so that they're able to cater to the variety of taste. And I think it's because the hospitals want to reach a certain kind of standard and quality, you know, especially in this, because food in a hospital, it's regarded as a medical nutritional therapy. So it's part of the recovery process. It's not just, you know, like randomly selected just to make you feel happy or to attract. I mean, certainly patients are not going to choose a hospital based on what food it's serving. I don't think that is the point of going to a hospital. In fact, like, why would you even want to be eating food in a hospital? But if you are in that kind of situation, and if the food is good, and I'd like just to add that a lot of people think that, oh, only the private hospitals serve good food. I don't think that is true. Perhaps they may sound a little bit more luxurious, and certainly the ingredients used maybe, you know, they can afford because they have, you know, but even for the subsidized wards, I think it is very admirable what the chefs are doing, using simple, fresh ingredients, and it's very challenging, I would imagine, you know, to be a chef in a hospital, because some of the chefs have shared with me that initially when they first joined the hospital, their friends would make fun of them, you know, joke that, oh, now you're going to have an easy time. You just have to cook porridge and plain tasting stuff. You don't have to think very much. But they said, no, it's totally, completely the opposite. You have to think harder. You have to be more creative. And the thing is that you're cooking for people who don't even want to eat, and you need them to eat because it's part of the recovery process, and they find this job very meaningful because, you know, the struggle that you have having your hands tied because you can only use this amount of ingredients. You can't use artificial flavorings, you can't use artificial seasonings to, you know, liven up your food. You have to be clever, and you have to rely on fresh herbs, you know, spices, and you know, at the correct amounts, and that at the end of the day, it's, you know, the patient's health is most important. It must be suitable and appropriate for the patients. Yeah, so very admirable, I think. Yeah.
So what has the response been to such meals at the hospitals?
Yeah, it's been a mixed response. Some people seem to be quite excited. I'm not sure why. Because, like, why would you want to be eating in a hospital? But I think, yeah, there's this notion that private hospitals, they serve better food. But I don't think that's really the point, because, you know, it's just like whether you choose to eat in a restaurant or hawker center. Hawker centers can have really good food too. It's what the chef or the cook does with it, and also how you perceive it. Because of course, if in your hospital, I've been told that although the food sounds good and, you know, and delicious, but the reality is that even for patients on regular diets, they make effort, and care is given into the selection, and even the quantity of salt, oil, everything is very tightly controlled, so that even if you are on a regular diet, you do not have dietary restrictions, they want you to eat healthily. Yeah, and I think the point is, for people who are, you know, have to go to hospital and you stay there and you eat their food, I think they want to sort of get you, you know, to continue eating healthily, and, you know, to carry on with that healthy, you know, this mentality of eating, making healthier choices even after you're discharged and you're well again. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Hedy, for coming on to share about this.
Thank you.
And good thing it's almost dinner time. Right. So those were our top stories for the day. For more news and videos, do log on to straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Melissa. Do log on tomorrow, same time, same place, for more big stories.